watching. One of the things that Vicki said was we had to post our I can statements. I'll be honest, I was one of those people who said, why? I didn't see a value to it because if I write up there, so-and-so is going to notice the sound letter correspondence with vowel teams, what does that mean to a second grader? Well, after going to one of the FAME meetings and them explaining about formative assessment, what I found is you're going to look at those I can statements now as learning targets. What is your target? What are you trying to teach? And you write them in kid-friendly words. So one of them, I just really quick did this off my head when we got back, was I can read vowel team words quickly and correctly. And then the kids brainstormed, all right, what can we do to hit that target? And so they said, well, we could do word cards, we could do bendy cards, and we could do speed drills. All right. So then I wanted them to self-assess where they were at that time. So in red is our first assessment. These are the kids who've got it. These are the kids who almost have it. And these are the kids who still need more practice. And as you can see, my reds, I've still got like 4 down here. Well, then we spent a week doing word cards, bendy cards, and speed drills. And then we reassessed. And then they got to mark, and you can see, look at where my green stickers are. Green stickers are the second time. And I did have a child who still felt that she needed more practice. But what I liked was the dialogue that happened that whole week was, boy, I'm getting it now. I almost have it. If I were to do it today, Mrs. Clark, I'd put my sticker right here. So now they're actually talking about their own learning. I have said for years, my job is to teach. Your job is to learn, but I don't think I ever defined that to the kids. What does that mean, your job is to learn? Well, this right here gives them that, here's your job. You need to be accountable for your own learning. So then, Unit 3 in math in 2nd grade, as many of you know, is all story problems. Story problems, story problems, story problems. So I thought, all right, well, let's do it. I got to make them accountable. I want them to be involved in their learning. I need to formally assess where my kids are based on story problems. So my I can statement was just a basic, I can solve story or word problems. Kid-friendly, they understood what that meant. And then we planned it out. I drew 4 boxes, and together they felt the first step is to read and plan with the numbers. The next was to choose the operations, then number sentences, and then finally solve and choose the label. Because they're 2nd graders, I blocked off 1 rectangle. Green this time meant I've got it. Yellow means I've almost got it. Red means I still need more practice. Well, you can see, reading and planning and finding the numbers, they thought they were doing really well. There were a few who thought they kind of had it. And then I blocked off this one. Oh, you can see some reds are showing up. Over here, oh, writing the number sentence, and then finally solving the problem. So then I said, well, we've got lots of words up here. Let's talk about these. I notice reds here. I notice reds here. What exactly is the problem? Is it choosing the operation, or is it finding the clues? They said finding the clues, so I put a star by it. All right, this is 2 separate things, guys and gals. Is it solving the problem, or is it choosing the label? Oh, hands up, no problem. It was solving the problem. So I have always said for years, and I still truly believe this, that my data has always driven my instruction. And I'm sure all of you can say that too. But what I like about this is now I've got the visual proof that I'm now using my data to drive my instruction. So we stuck with this part first. And we talked about, okay, what are the clues for addition and subtraction? So we made a chart. This is not all in one day either, by the way. Don't think this is an hour-long lesson or 2 hours. So we listed all the addition clues, and we went and listed all the subtraction clues. Well, then we solved more story problems, and the kids went, but Mrs. Clark, wait a minute. Those words aren't in our story problems, and they're not. In the 2nd grade story problems, you don't find in all or all together. You don't find are left or take away. You have to think of situations. So we made another chart, and we said, all right, what are the situations that we find in our story problems? So we listed them. There are putting together problems, there are taking away problems, there are sorting things into two groups, and then there are comparing problems, and then we put plus and minuses. Well, then I made a mistake, and you might see my mistake soon. I gave the test. And guess what I forgot? I forgot that that wasn't the only place we were having the problem. We were having the problem on solving the story problem. And after I gave the test, they were awesome at reading and planning. They were awesome at writing the number sentence. And guess what? They were awesome at choosing the operation. And I analyzed my tests, and in my grade book I put, where did they fall apart? And guess what? It was the solution part. I never went back and revisited this chart to see that, oh gosh, we need to work on solving the problem. If I had to do it all over again, I would. And I said to the kids, I apologize. If you look at your test, this is where we fell apart, and this is where Mrs. Clark didn't do her job, which was teaching you to solve the problem. So we're going to work really hard on solving the problems. So, those are two examples of what I've done, and I've done others, and you can use them for anything. Here's our Reader's Theater rubric. They designed it themselves. When we do a Reader's Theater, then they go back and they assess each other, peer assessment. Did they follow along, use expression? The kids would, say, I noticed that someone was reading, like, we don't use names, was reading a robot, or I really liked how a certain person was using expression. It made it sound like they were really talking. My kids were having problems in RTI behaving. We went right back to the classroom and we wrote an I can statement. I can behave in Mrs. Bowman's room. And then we listed, what do we need to do to behave in Mrs. Bowman's room? And then one of the things that's in our tool chest for formative assessment is they called them tickets out the door. And the tickets out the door for that one was, you have it, I almost have it, and I still need more practice. And then a comment blank. When we had our FAME meeting and I presented this to them, Kathy was right in saying, you don't know who they are. They've got their stickers up there, but you don't know which kid it is. Well, you do, and because you're watching them stick it up there, but you don't have an actual list of which kid is missing which skill. And so as a committee, we said it might be good that sometimes when the kids assess themselves, that they have their name on it so that you can see how they're doing. Unit 5 in math for 2nd grade has, I don't know how many objectives are in there. Odd and even, rounding to the nearest 10, identifying numbers to 1,000, counting dimes, nickels, and pennies, adding of 2-digit numbers, all in one unit. So for me, so I could keep tabs on whether they were retaining that information, I made numerous tickets out the door. This one here is a story problem. This one here is tell whether the number is even or odd and why. This one here is draw the picture representation and then write the number. And it's another quick assessment for how they're doing. Here's my ticket out the door for behaving in Mrs. Bowman's class. Michael wrote, I almost have it. And it's true, he almost had it, but not quite, got it all the way. On this one here, which was my adding of 2-digit numbers just to see how they were doing, I could really quick look through, see the correct answer, and I could write little notes. This one forgot to carry. And so I had a nice little quick formative assessment on how they're doing to help me drive my instruction so I knew what to review or what to work harder on or to pass by because they already got it. So that's just it really quick. If you watch those videos that Vicki's talked about, they are good videos and they do explain it and they do give more examples. There is a tool kit per se, and I need more because I'm running out of formative assessment ideas.